Alright guys, we're going to cover over some of the tools over on the left hand side right here. The ones that you're going to frequently use if you hover over it with your cursor is selection tool, and then it also gives you the keyboard shortcut, which is the letter V. Below that is your sub-selection tool. This is your free transform tool, and then at the bottom, if you right click, you're going to get the gradient free transform tool, lasso tool, and this has some other different in Magic Wand. You've seen these before in Photoshop. Right click right here. Pen tool, okay? The pen tool is really great for making Bezier curves, okay? Bezier is a French term named by the guy who invented it. It's like Paul or Peter or something like that is the first name. But anyways, it helps you actually create curved lines and arcs in Adobe Animate. Very similar to Adobe Illustrator. Text tool, line tool, we have a rectangle tool, oval, polystar, okay, pen tool, brush, paint tool, or paintbrush tool, then you got your brush tool. Bone tool is for when you start making puppets of your actual characters in Adobe Animate. Paint bucket tool is right there, and then the ink bottle tool, okay, for filling in, I believe it's the outline. Eyedropper tool for selecting actual colors. Eraser tool. I don't use that as much. I use mainly the delete key. And then the width tool, and I don't use that one as much either, but you may decide you want to. Camera tool, your hand, zooming in and out with your magnifying glass. Okay, this tells you what stroke, the outline, what color you're using for that. The paint bucket tool, that fills in for the inside of the shape that you've created. Okay, right here, this is the object drawing tool. Okay, I prefer having that clicked on. Okay, and then it operates a lot like Adobe Illustrator, which we didn't really get a chance to play around with, but hopefully we'll do that later. Okay, so say I just click on this oval tool, and I'm just gonna click and drag. Okay, and actually let me pick this, and actually I gotta go to my properties. Okay, and then I can change the color here. If I select on it, oh, I forgot to select on it. Select on it, come over to your properties, and then you can actually change it to whatever color. I want it to be green. Okay, whenever you have that object shape selected, and you know what, I want a different color now because I want to make so you guys can see this. And I have that selected. Then when I cover an object, you know, I can move it and it doesn't affect the shape beneath it. Okay, when you don't have it collected, it does something totally different, and it bothers me, and I'm just not used to it. But I click off of that, and this is what happens. You click and your drag. I'm gonna use the same color, and guess what? I'm gonna click and drag right on top of it. I mean, it has its uses. I just don't care for it. And then you say you move something. Look at what happens. It literally splits everything apart, and I don't really, I mean, I guess it's great if you want to make like a moon shape, or there's certain kinds of shapes that you're trying to get the curve of or something like that, and it makes it easier than doing the Bezier curves and trying to go in and do those kind of things. But I just don't use it as much, okay? Because I'll forget, and then I'm used to Adobe Illustrator. I'll start layering things, and I'm like, it's falling apart. It's like breaking apart, and yeah, I don't really care for that. So I just hit the delete key to get rid of that. And so whenever I'm using these like shape tools, I just want to make sure that object drawing tool is on, okay? Unless I otherwise don't need it. Okay, let's talk about actually making some Bezier curves. If you click on your pen tool, if you click and then you click and drag, okay, this is your Bezier curves that are created because I'm clicking and dragging. And you're going to need this because you're going to create a replica of a landscape, okay? All right, so I can make this organic looking shape, okay? All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and fill this with a color. Go back here. I like that blue. Okay, notice how when I hover around the edge and it gets this curved shape, you can click and drag. That's kind of the nice thing. Almost kind of like a magnetic tool. So if you want to edit the shape, click and drag wherever you want. Now, if you don't like that and you want to be more particular, click the sub-selection tool, click on the outline of it, and then you see the actual points. Click on a point, click and drag. You can make fine adjustments to the curves by dragging on the Bezier curve handles. Call those handles right there. Okay, so that's another way. Also, this is really helpful when you do your landscape. The paintbrush tool, and I prefer that over the brush tool because it almost seems to like clean up the lines and the edges. Okay, but I'm going to click this, and then I can click and drag. I can change the size of my brush. Okay, let me see. Go back to my brush tool. Oh, it changed. Okay, and then I do the brackets. Open, close brackets, see? And then it gets longer. Okay, and this is a little bit, you know, a little bit too clean, and I want to mimic kind of a style of a actual tool. So if I click here, brush library, you have all these options that will pop up, and I want something artistic. I want a paintbrush look. Okay, so I can click one of these. Okay, and you see it changes right here. I can also change my stroke size, and I want maybe like 18. And then I can, maybe I want a different color. Click there. And then I click and hold. And see how it mimics the brush. And then you get that brushy quality. Okay. If I want to move it, I just click on it. I can move it. If I hover, should get that, see, you get that curve tool, and I can move it around. Okay. Down here is your timeline, guys. Okay. So when you are looking, this is my first frame. Okay, it's on the number 1. This is my playhead. Okay, the little black dot is called your key frame. That's the point of where you have a main point of action. I can double click on here and I can name this lines. Okay, if I don't want this to be edited, I have the little lock or unlock. Click on the little dot and it's going to lock that layer. I can't do anything. I can click and drag and nothing happens. If I unlock it, I can move things. Okay. Also, if I don't want to see it anymore, just hide it. Okay. Or click on it on and off. Okay. All right. So frame 1, scene 1. That's how I know because scene's right here. Okay. There's my swatches here. You can also change colors there. But that's just an overview of the tools that you're going to start with for your first lesson.